The evening she went missing was meant to be just another ordinary Saturday. Earlier that day, my wife, Amelia, told me she'd be spending the night at Clara's place. Just a girls' night, she said casually. Movies, wine, the usual laughs. I nodded, pretending not to notice the way her gaze briefly dodged mine. I didn't confront her. I simply waited until she walked out the door. But as the lock clicked behind her, a strange tightness knotted in my chest. I couldn't say why at the time. Maybe it was the fact that her phone had already been set to "Do Not Disturb" before her tires even left the driveway. Maybe it was because she hadn't kissed me goodbye. Just a distracted, "See you tomorrow," like I was an afterthought. By midnight, her phone had gone completely dark. Amelia never turned off her phone. Not when she traveled to see her relatives, not during thunderstorms, not even that time on our ski trip when she lost her phone in a snowbank. She'd used a stranger's device to call me from the lodge. But tonight, no messages. No calls. Just silence. I sat motionless on the living room couch, still in my jeans, shoes on, staring at the slow spin of the ceiling fan. Every few minutes, my phone screen lit up with nothing but disappointment as I checked again and again. After the third message came back undelivered, I stopped trying to reach her. But the waiting wasn't the worst part. What came next was. Around 3 a.m., I stood quietly and walked over to the hallway drawer. I sifted through crumpled receipts, random cables, and a few spare keys until my fingers found it, my old phone. The one I'd stashed away after upgrading. The one Amelia didn't know I still had. I powered it on. The familiar screen blinked to life, a ghost from the past. I hooked it to Wi-Fi, then signed into her Apple ID, the one I had helped her set up years ago when she admitted she didn't understand tech. She never bothered changing the password. It was still her childhood pet's name. I opened Find My iPhone. No signal. Her location was blocked, manually turned off. Not a glitch. Not forgotten settings. A conscious choice. She didn't lose her signal. She didn't forget a charger. She deliberately cut herself off. I sat there in the pale glow of the screen, heart thudding against my ribs, staring at nothing. I don't know how much time passed before I heard her keys jingle at the door. Sunlight was already leaking between the curtains. 9:38 a.m. She stepped inside as though everything was perfectly normal. Her hair was pulled back in a loose braid. Sunglasses still on despite being indoors. A fancy cafe cup in hand, like some trophy from a triumphant night. She didn't even look in my direction. Just opened the fridge and spoke casually. "You're still up." I didn't answer. Couldn't. I was too focused on the faint smear near the hem of her sweatshirt, a reddish mark. Lipstick, maybe. But not a shade she ever wore. Her phone, suddenly back on, rested lightly in her hand. "I called you," I finally croaked out, my voice dry and cracked. She didn't look up. Just took a slow sip from her cup and shrugged. "Oh, I forgot my charger. Clara didn't have one that fit." She said it so flatly it wasn't even a lie, it was a message. She didn't care if I believed her or not. The words weren't for reassurance. She chuckled softly, almost mockingly, then walked past me and tousled my hair like I was a child getting worked up over nothing. "You worry too much, Noah. I'm fine. Get some rest." I stared at her, feeling every drop of self-respect slip away. "Where were you?" I asked, low and calm. Dead calm. She paused for just a second, then turned back to me with a slow, icy smirk. "I told you," she said, her tone overly patient. "Clara's." "What? You think I was out having some affair or something?" She let out a sharp, cruel laugh. "God, you're so paranoid." That smile, so smug, so knowing, it sent a wave of cold through me. She wasn't trying to cover it up. She wanted me to see the lie. I stood. She barely flinched. "You weren't at Clara's," I said flatly. She rolled her eyes so dramatically it felt like a parody. "Oh, here we go. What now? You gonna hack my phone and play stalker?" But I already had. Clara's Instagram story was still up, a midnight clip of her alone in her apartment, eating ice cream while her cat batted at a toy on the floor. "No, Amelia." I said nothing. And that silence, it unsettled her. She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the bedroom. But her phone, left behind on the kitchen counter, buzzed. 3 messages. All from someone saved as Alex Vetker. We didn't have a pet. No vet. No Alex. I instinctively reached for the phone. Don't touch my phone, she snapped, her voice now laced with steel. I looked her dead in the eye. Is this really how you want to play it? She crossed her arms, a condescending smirk twisting her lips. Go ahead, Noah. Open it. Make yourself look crazy. I didn't need to. I already knew. Instead, I calmly stepped into the kitchen and retrieved the envelope I'd received just the day before. Official paperwork. Signed. Witnessed. Legally sealed. I laid the divorce documents gently on the counter, right beside her untouched coffee. Her face lost all color. Though her posture remained defiant, something inside her cracked. You're blowing this out of proportion, she murmured, eyes flitting from me to the stack of papers. Am I? I asked quietly. She let out a dry, humorless laugh. Seriously? You're ending our marriage over a dead phone battery? One night without contact, and this is your reaction. I said nothing, just stared. And like always, the silence got to her first. She had to fill it. I wasn't unfaithful, she said in a low voice. Not with shame, but with that same rehearsed exhaustion. You're paranoid, Noah. You've always been that way. There it was, the manipulation. The same tired script she always pulled out when I got too close to the truth. I didn't even blink. You want to talk paranoia? I said evenly. Let's talk about Alex vet care. She froze, just for a beat. Then her expression shifted. Smooth. Controlled. That's Clara's ex, she said with practiced ease. He's a veterinarian. She's thinking of adopting a dog. Used my number on the forms. It was too perfect. Too scripted. I nearly laughed. Show me proof. No, her arms tightened across her chest. Why not? Her voice snapped like a whip. Because I don't owe you an explanation, she shouted. You've completely lost it. Her rage wasn't panic. It was comfort. Anger was where she thrived. Yelling, accusing, twisting things around. That was her safe space. But I wasn't stepping into it this time. You think I'm doing this because of one night? I asked softly, calmly. This isn't about last night. It's about every lie. Every time you walked through that door wearing a scent that didn't belong to me. Every smirk you gave me while feeding me the same tired excuses. She didn't deny it. She didn't say a word. Just turned sharply and slammed the bedroom door shut behind her. I didn't go after her. Around 3 p.m., she reappeared, freshly showered, hair in a towel, dressed like she was meeting friends for brunch, like her marriage wasn't crumbling beneath her feet. Her tone was composed, eerily casual. So what now? She asked as she clipped on her watch. Want me to beg? I said nothing. She scowled at her reflection in the microwave surface. You think you're so noble, don't you? She muttered. You've been emotionally checked out for months, Noah. You left before I did. And suddenly, it all made sense. This wasn't a moment of weakness or a brief betrayal. This was decay, years in the making. You didn't walk out, I said quietly. You just started living like I wasn't part of your life anymore. Her lips curled into that familiar, smug sneer. Maybe I just got tired of being monitored like a prisoner. She thought she was clever. You want to know what really stings? I asked, voice low. She tilted her head slightly, intrigued. It's not the betrayal, I said. It's how little effort you put into hiding it. Like you thought I was too stupid, or too in love, to see through it. She grabbed her keys. I need some air. I didn't stop her. As she reached the front door, I spoke once more. Don't come back tonight. She hesitated, but only for a breath, then walked out. I watched until her car disappeared at the end of the street. Then I went straight for her laptop. Still signed in. No password prompt. I opened the iMessage app. The trash folder was loaded. Deleted chats, Countless threads. One name stood out again and again. Alex. I clicked. The screen filled with messages. Last night was wild. I can still smell you. 3 hours with you feels better than 6 years with him. I didn't feel anger anymore. Just clarity. I printed every message, every photo, every date she'd gone out with the girls. I labeled them, carefully. Evidence. That night, she walked back and humming to herself like nothing happened. I slid the folder across the table toward her. She opened it. As she turned through page after page, her expression shifted, but she didn't scream. She didn't cry. She smiled. So this is it, she said coldly. This is the truth, I replied. She chuckled bitterly. So you went through my stuff? Snooped around like a little spy. You gave up the right to privacy when you stopped being faithful. Her voice lowered to a whisper. You think that makes you the good guy? I didn't reply. She crossed her arms and stared me down. What now? You want me to pack a bag? I nodded once. She moved with eerie calm, folding clothes and humming softly as though she were heading out for a weekend retreat. Before stepping through the door, she paused. I never loved him, she said flatly. I didn't react. She smiled, cold and deliberate. Didn't need to. He wanted me. You just wanted a perfect little wife. I stepped forward once. He wanted the woman you pretended to be, I said. Her mouth opened like she had a retort, but nothing came. Just one last frigid grin. I'll text when I want to get the rest of my stuff. I didn't answer. She left. And for the first time in years, the house didn't feel hollow. It felt quiet, peaceful. I sat on the edge of the bed, looking at the faint impression left on her pillow. That was the grief, not the loss of her, but the loss of the illusion. But I wasn't waiting anymore. I was finally free.